Hi there, my name is Luke Watson. I'm one of the staff members here at the Skills Centre, which is UCC's academic support unit. So today I'm going to take you through a couple of the services that we offer at the Skills Centre, the various supports that we have available for students in general and for postgrad students in particular. So at the Skills Centre, we divide our offerings down into a couple of different categories, and I'm going to go through those today. I'm going to go through the Success Zone, which is available on Canvas, as well as briefly mention some of the digital badges we have on offer. I'm going to go through our various peer-to-peer sessions and the workshops that we run, and I'm going to talk through how you can book into all of these different services. So our kind of like central repository of information is the Success Zone. The Success Zone is available automatically on Canvas. Every student in UCC has access to it, and it's a repository for all of UCC support services, not just the Skills Centre. So when you're on the Success Zone, you'll be able to find a portal for the library, for careers, for exam prep and that kind of thing. And in addition, we have our own section there. If you click into it, you can see text versions of all of the workshops that we offer, which serve as a useful guide to what those classes cover. They are useful information in and of themselves, and they can be a handy refresher if you've been to that workshop and want to kind of go over the material again. In addition, a lot of these classes in the Success Zone have recordings like this one for that class. Now, the slides in many of these cases are slightly out of date, but the information in every instance is the same. So when you click in, you'll see a banner up the top with all the different support services that UCC has. There's a section on Canvas and IT, there's a section on graduate attributes. In the yellow section, the bright luminous yellow is the Skills Centre. And if you click into it, you can see links to all of our different classes and workshops that we offer in the Skills Centre. In addition to that, we also offer a handful of digital badges throughout the year. Our most frequent digital badge and also our most popular is the Speak digital badge, which covers public speaking. It's generally a 7-week course, which covers the ins and outs of public speaking, how to make good PowerPoints, how to manage your audience, and things like that. We run these at different times throughout the year, so keep an eye on our social media and on our website to see if we're running any of these digital badges anytime soon. Now, in terms of booking in with us, the main way to do so is to book in via our website, which I'll go over in a second. But just to note that there are a couple of different types of sessions that we run. The most common sessions that we offer are one-to-one or peer support sessions, and these are available both in person and online. So we offer what we call writing clinics, where a student can sit down with one of our tutors and go over any questions that they may have. We offer practice presentations, where if there's a presentation you need to give, you can do a sort of dry run with us in advance. We offer academic study coaching, where students can get advice on how to revise and prepare and things like that. And we also throughout the year run drop-in clinics, which don't need to be booked in advance. There'll be an hour or two either in the Skills Centre, which is on Q-1 of the Boole Library, or in the Makerspace just next to the hub. Now, for postgraduate students in particular, it is worth noting that all of our tutors are themselves postgraduate students, many of whom are towards the end of their master's or PhD programs. And so most of them are familiar with the various struggles that face postgraduate students. And so we'll have good insights on things like managing long-term research projects, dealing with your supervisors, getting the most out of your relationship with your supervisors, preparing for conferences, and things like that. And what I always say to people if they're looking to use the Skill Centre is even if we don't know the answer, we are happy to go look for it for you. So if you're ever unsure as to whether or not the Skill Centre is the right port of call, you can always drop us a line first and we'll point you in the right direction. In addition to the one-to-one sessions, throughout the year, we also run workshops. In particular, during the summer months, these workshops will be targeted to postgrad students. As you might imagine, the undergrad students are generally on break over the summer months, but all of our workshops are, available to everybody. They're not all applicable to every student. Some are specifically tailored to students who are coming into university just out of the Leaving Certificate or other second level education, but nonetheless, everybody is welcome at all of our workshops. And you can find more details on these on our website. You can find both the calendar, which shows what workshops we're running and when, and you can also find out more details about the workshop. You can see there on the screen that some of the workshops we offer are things like assignment writing essentials, building an academic argument, exam prep, um, and so on and so forth. Generally speaking, these workshops are 40-minute sessions that cover a specific academic skill, and there will be plenty of time within those sessions for questions, for Q&A, for discussion, and so on. It's the same tutor team that do the one-to-one sessions as do the workshops, so all of our tutors are aware of all of the material that is covered in these workshops. I do want to note that the majority of these are not subject specific, as good academic writing and good academic skills are universal. But that said, we do have a couple of slightly more tailored workshops, which include things like writing business reports, writing in the sciences, and in particular, classes that cover postgraduate writing and time management. So these, we have classes on, managing larger literature reviews, managing PhD theses, and so on and so forth. In addition to the calendar on our website, we'll also generally post information about upcoming workshops either around the library or on our social medias. The final offering that we have in the Skills Center are what we call asynchronous writing reviews, and they are an invaluable resource to students as they allow you to get personalized feedback on essay structure and style, and in particular allow you to get a second pair of eyes on any writing that you're conducting, which particularly for postgraduate students, which you're working on a large project by yourself, outside feedback can be quite hard to come by unless you happen to know people in your discipline or have people that you can sort of ask to read your work. But even then, more input is always a good thing. So the asynchronous writing reviews, you can submit up to 1,000 words of something that you have written, and generally we return the feedback to you within 2 to 5 days. You can let us know specifically what it is you want us to focus in on. So if you're working on a lit review, for example, you might let us know that you're looking for feedback on the argument specifically. If it's a sample of a larger chapter, you might want to know whether the arguments flow well or whether there's any issues with the writing, anything like that, we're more than happy to help out with. Just to note that it is not a proofreading service and it's not a referencing service. So while we will point out any obvious issues with sentence structure or grammar, and we will note if we think that there is a lack of references, ultimately those are not things that we are explicitly looking to deal with. If you want help with referencing in particular, you may be better off talking to the fine folks at the library who do throughout the year run one-to-one sessions for citations and referencing software and things like that. In addition, much like our workshops, these are not subject specific. So while our tutor, you may get paired with a tutor who is familiar with our fields, nonetheless, we cannot guarantee that we'll be able to give discipline specific advice. Finally, I just want to note that while it is only 1,000 words, and you are most likely going to be working on projects that are larger than that, we generally find that anything that's good or bad about the 1,000-word sample will broadly be applicable to the larger writing. So even though it's just a snapshot, it's often a very illustrative snapshot. If you want to make use of the asynchronous writing reviews, you can go to our website under the Book a Session tab where you would book one-to-one appointments or book in for workshops. There is also a section for asynchronous writing reviews. You'll see a button that says upload your writing somewhere, and that will take you to a form where you can fill out the details of your request. You can upload the file, and that will come into us, and we'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. It is worth noting that this is not a live service. We do send it out to a tutor, and they do take the time to read through it and give thoughtful feedback in the form of annotated comments. So it can take us a little bit to get it back to you if we're busy, but we do generally try to keep within 2 to 5 working days. This is perhaps less relevant for postgraduate students who will be here throughout the whole year, but I do just want to note that we generally tailor our workshops to what we think students will be looking for. So throughout the semester, what we will offer changes, but we will generally run a given workshop multiple times, but we try and sort of, as I said, kind of manage what we think are going to be the things that students are most looking for. So for example, at the start of a semester, we generally start talking about like time management, how to transition into college life, then moving on to things like note taking and assignment writing essentials, and so on and so forth as the semester progresses. As a consequence for that, for postgraduate students, generally speaking, the time that we most run postgraduate appointments is during the summer months or any other period when things might be quieter from an undergraduate point of view. I also want to note as a final point that we are this year running a much larger version of a postgraduate support that we previously only ran through the summer called the Postgraduate Writing Retreat. These are several hour sessions, sort of around about 5 or 6 hours. Presently, at time of recording, they're on Tuesdays and Fridays, and basically what the writing retreat is a semi-structured writing environment where you can come along, you can meet other postgraduates, and you're basically given a space to work on your writing. We encourage students attending this to do a bit of like, peer-to-peer goal setting, but ultimately nobody is standing over you making sure that you do the writing. It's more to give people the opportunity to have a space to meet people to hold themselves somewhat accountable and get some writing done. So keep an eye out for the postgraduate writing retreats throughout the semester. As I said, at time of recording, they're being run on Tuesdays and Fridays. We will probably run larger things over the summer as well. We're always kind of trying to respond to student demand. So if the service becomes more and more popular, we will probably run more and more of these sessions. At any rate, that's all for now. If you have any questions, feel free to drop us an email or pop by the Skills Centre. As I said, we're located on Q-1 of the Boole Library, although you'll very frequently see us around campus as well. If you ever see anybody in this bright yellow colour on the top of the screen, they're almost certainly related to the Skills Centre. So hopefully we'll see you around. Have a great time at UCC.